ka ja teeme seekord selliselt, meil on külas fotomeidist Tšehhist
Rafał
ja kasutame harukordset võimalust, meil on siin ka, eks ju, õues Huawei demobuss esimest korda üldse Eestis, nii et ja kasutame unikaalset võimalust, me teeme seekord ei tee nagu tavapäraselt esitlust, vaid me teemegi küsimuste-vastuste vooru. Nii et minu käes on mikrofon, Rafalil on oma mikrofon ja ka salvestame need küsimused ja vastused ja kõik ja ma annan selle mikrofoni siis edasi küsimuse jaoks, et siis jääb see heliga peale. Et nii, et olge head, aga teeme otsa lahti. Kuidas oleks?
Yeah. In English or...
Yeah, I prefer English. We can have like the translation of the question, but if you can ask it in English, I would prefer that way.
I have a question about these accumulations. How many times can we load it? You offer that it works 10 years. And the power what it take out.
Yeah.
But how many time I can load it?
It's like, you mean the number of cycles?
Yes.
Okay, so usually the manufacturers of the batteries are using the number of cycles regarding the warranty. Is that correct? It's like they always say like 8,000 cycles or something. But what people usually do not know, there's like the list of conditions which must be fulfilled just to have this 8,000. So in our case, the manufacturer is naming the warranty something in some different way. So it looks like this. It's 10 years of unlimited warranty, and after those 10 years or 16 megawatt hours of charge and discharge power, you should have no less than 60% of the capacity of your battery storage system. So this is how the manufacturer is telling us what's the guarantee for the product. So if you actually can calculate how many cycles you might have when you have the 16 megawatt hours, depending on your own use, yeah. So yeah, it's not like the straight answer like how many cycles, because there is no such statement from the manufacturer, but it's like the explanation how this warranty for the product works.
Thank you.
Mikrofoni edasi.
Thank you. Solar Green, Alan Grace here. I would like to ask about bigger three-phase inverters, capacity 15 kilowatt, so more, when it's available in the market.
You mean the 15?
Hybrid inverters, 15 with storage system.
Okay, so where the bigger inverter will be compatible with the storage system.
Yes, available.
It's really hard to answer that question when, but we were informed like a value-added partner, like such solution is prepared. So I cannot answer exactly when. Okay. But yeah, it's not the battery-ready interface inverter, but soon, probably next year, you might expect like the M2 series will also have the battery-ready input.
Our clients is ready to order, and we are waiting. It's a bigger capacity. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Veel küsimusi?
I have two questions from my colleague who couldn't come today. And the first question was about the optimizers. Is it possible to use these Tigo optimizers?
Tigo optimizers. Yes, it's possible, of course. The only difference in the layout is like when we are using the Huawei optimizers, you have the monitoring platform for optimizers and for inverter at one place. If you will use the Tigo optimizers, you will have the monitoring from Tigo, which is additionally paid, it's not free of charge, and you will have the monitoring for the inverter in Fusion Solar, and they will just not see each other. But the general rule how the optimizers and inverter works, it will be fulfilled, so it will work with the inverter. It's tested and we can confirm it works.
And maybe, I don't know to whom, from who to ask, maybe from you, what kind of Tigo inverters we may order, sizes, parameters?
You mean the Tigo optimizers?
Yeah. What is available in the Estonian market, maybe?
Yeah. No, I think Kalev has the good answers to these Tigo inverters. TS4, what are the most usable here in Estonia?
ta ütles, et kõik sobib, kõik töötab, aga kas teie kaudu võimalik need ka saada?
Ja Tigo optimeerijad on tulemas, vattu hetkel veel tarneaega ei oska öelda, aga
et mõõdud asjad, et ühesõnaga see tuleb kõik hiljem?
ja, saab olema.
Mis saab saada olema? Okay.
And
the second question, what I have in the list, if you can talk a little bit more about this different monitoring dongles. For example, we know that, just for example, that 50 kilowatt inverter, and there are some kind of misunderstanding that is it possible to use the ordinary USB dongle for monitoring, or we need the other equipment?
Yeah, so officially for the 50 kilowatt inverter, which is very popular in Estonia, the manufacturer supports two ways of communication with the outside world, which is the 4G dongle, and this is it's the smart logger. The smart logger is for much bigger projects, like when you have the more than 10 inverters. But still, I can provide you some info how to connect also the regular dongle, like it's the wireless fast Ethernet dongle, but it's not like officially supported by manufacturer yet. The hardware is prepared, the software is almost ready, but the manufacturer is not supporting this solution yet. But it's still possible. We had many different projects in Estonia for last 2 years where like 90% of them are working like the 50 kilowatt inverter with the regular VLAN fast Ethernet dongle. So actually, if it comes to the series of 50-60 kilowatt inverters, you can use whatever is possible to buy from Huawei to communicate with outside world.
And let's say the bigger inverters, 60, 100 kilowatt, what kind of monitoring equipment we can use then?
It's exactly the same. It's exactly the same. So for 100 M1 series, it's the same. So 4G, smart logger, VLAN fast Ethernet, all of them can be used.
We have had some kind of problems, then we just need more information. Seems, yeah.
Would you like you said, you mean the information like the manual exactly how to set it up to make it possible?
Because till now we have used the other more expensive equipments.
So the smart loggers.
Yeah, smart loggers, exactly, for that purpose.
It's for the scenario when you have like 1 or 2 inverters, it's not necessary to have it. It's the one dongle is enough for this. So what I will maybe suggest is if you will just contact our support, the guys from my team will send you the link for the very short manual on our portal. So there is the description and explanation how to connect these dongles to the 50. It's easy to open, like if you are even on your site, so you can open it on his phone and just read how to do it step by step.
Okay, then it's clear for me.
Thank you, aitäh. Kalev, palun.
Can you describe warranty? If somebody have problem with some dongle or inverter, what he have to do? How goes on this warranty?
Okay, so usually it's we have the 2 types of the problems, like the inverter is faulty or the PV installation is faulty. So from the second chance, like if the PV installation has some problems, if you will contact our support, they will probably tell you what to do and what to check on the PV installation. For example, very usual problem is like the grid over voltage or some problems with the grounding, some problems with the AFCI alarms. So 99.9% of the cases like this are not the inverter fault itself, but usually the fault on the PV side or some AC side as well. But if it comes to the warranty replacement, what you will be asked for sure if you apply for the warranty replacement is like to at least download the log files from the inverter which might be not possible remotely if you don't have a connection with the Fusion Solar platform, so you have to do it on site. And it's always best to make some short movie or some pictures describing and showing the problem. Sometimes what I would suggest, like to do on site, just not to travel over and over again there, is like to do at least some basic measurements, like, okay, we have the DC voltage, and we just measure it, take a picture, we have the DC voltage, we have the AC voltage, and we just make a short movie how the inverter behaves. Then after with the log files, it's just the whole package of materials, and based on that, if you have this, and we assume like the inverter is faulty, it's just replaced under warranty. That's all what you need. It's always, what I can suggest to you, I mean the guys here from Photomate can give you the business cards with the phone line numbers for all Baltic countries. So in case you don't know what will be needed in that case to have your warranty replacement, it's better to ask them first just before you go home. Okay?
Can you show where and how to download this log file?
Okay, so I don't have unfortunately the access to any inverter here, but if I will connect with the internet, I will show you the. Sorry, I tried to do some hotspot maybe. No, I'm sorry. Okay, so this is our portal. The link is over here. If you will just write an email to us, we can resend it. So if you will just use the search, you should probably find something how to. Sorry, I don't have lost the connection with the internet right now. Okay, so if you just search here, you will have different articles how to download the logs, but nevertheless, if you will just visit the YouTube channel, which is called Fusion Solar Service, you will find different videos. Some of them are showing how to export some logs, how to operate with the app. So this is like the official Huawei site, and you can use those videos just for the reference how to download something from the app. Okay.
So a lot of questions will be answered thanks to these videos, we can say.
Yes, I hope so.
Okay, that's good. More questions, please. On veel küsimusi. Inverterid, laadimis, akujaamad, midagi.
Maybe you can show more about storage and.
So the storage system,
Yeah.
like from the technical way or the product way?
Technical way.
Technical way. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so I will just skip the not maybe so necessary part. Okay, as you probably know, like the energy storage system is composed of the 5 kWh battery. It's compatible right now with the two series of inverters. It's the single phase L1 and three phase M1 series. So maximum power inverter which we can connect our battery is 10 kilowatts. Unfortunately, at this moment, it's all we have. So it's here. We can connect up to 30 kilowatt hours to one system to get parallel in one inverter. But remember one thing, it's like the DC coupled solution. The output power of the system is always limited by maximum output power inverter. So even if you have the 30 kilowatt hour system but 10 kilowatt inverter, it will always be limited to maximum output power of inverter, which is 10 kilowatts. So this is, let's say, disadvantage of this feature, of this solution, sorry. But the advantage of this feature is, for example, when you have the grid outage and you don't have any AC, your battery will be charged from the PV, so you're not losing your potential power. Yeah. So one of the examples was what is better of the DC coupled solution. The second thing what's very good on the DC coupled solution is like you don't have to be afraid of oversizing the inverter, because it can at the same time charge the battery with the maximum power of 5 kilowatts, but at the same time work with this maximum power of the output. So if you have, let's say, 5 kilowatt inverter, it means like it can actually take 10 kilowatts from the PV modules. So the oversizing around 150 or 180%, something like this, it's not very frightening for the system. So two advantages of having the DC coupled solution is like this. It's the LFP technology. LFP technology is the technology of the cells which are used right now very commonly in the automotive. It's because of the safety, mostly. Usually when the chemical reaction, I mean burning of the battery is starting because of the overheating the battery, it starts around 180, 150 degrees. If it comes to the LFP cells, it's around 480, so it's much harder to overheat it and start this process of burning the battery. And also, additionally, it does not produce the oxygen as the part of the chemical reaction. So probably you have seen many movies like this on maybe different batteries, but there is a comparison. It's like the pin test when you just blow the battery. So the difference is how the LFP cells is behaving and like the regular cells is behaving. It's shown here. So you don't have this fire blast, like this explosion, because there is no oxygen which actually can boost this reaction. That's why all of the EV charging, electrical cars and all this industry is switching to those kind of batteries, mostly because of the safety. Of course, the battery itself, and the Huawei inverters, have multiple safety systems which should work during this situation. But still, let's assume like the worst thing will happen is like you won't have the explosion of the battery after. What's the very good solution regarding the batteries is like each battery module, each battery pack has built-in optimizer. So for what you can use it for is when, for example, you have the 10 kilowatt hours battery and after 2 years you find out it's maybe not enough and you would like to buy another one or another two, you don't have to worry about like the old battery packs will decrease the overall performance of the whole battery system. So you don't have to worry like the serious resistance of this battery pack is much higher than this one, because the optimizer at the output will always adjust the output parameters. So this battery pack can be charged to 20%, then this one can be to 35, this one can be to be charged like to the 50. It doesn't matter because the output optimizer will always control the voltage and the current on the main bus. So whatever happens, you can mix the old modules with the new modules and it will work very, very well. Also, just a last sentence, also when you just have one battery pack damaged, for example, because of any reason, the last two will actually work together and will bypass the faulty one. So you will still have some capacity. You're not run out of the energy storage at all.
Is there something special procedure if I want to add new battery to existing system?
It's nothing special. You just physically connect it. I mean, remove it, put it into the modules. And if you have the application to commission the system, you just log into the inverter, go through the commissioning process one more time, just adding the new battery. The one step is only necessary. So the second step, which is detecting the new devices. So all the steps can be just skipped after the second step is done. So we just await like the battery to be discovered by the inverter, and then after we can skip all the other steps. What's happened on Fusion Solar, I mean on the platform, it's automatically adding the new devices.
Küsimused, question.
So basically, you can oversize the system 1.8 times.
Yeah.
But if you have the battery full charged and it's sunny outside and the system is working with 100%, will there be any problem or not?
No, absolutely not. It's like if you have the power curve, it usually looks like this, yeah? So the inverter is looking for this peak point of the maximum power point. So if your possible power is higher than inverter possibility, it will just peak another power point. It's not like you will damage inverter by putting more power than it can take. Yeah? It will just limit the input and at the same time produce with the maximum output. It's nothing wrong will happen. It's just you're losing your potential power. Yeah? So you just invested some money in some power and you're not using it because the inverter is not able to convert it. But it's not harmful for the system. As long as you stay with the limit of electrical parameters like the maximum voltage and short circuit current, it's nothing wrong is gonna happen.
Can we discharge 100%?
Yes, I mean, it will affect, of course, of the lifetime of the battery. The Luna battery packs are not having only 5 kilowatt hours of capacity. There's always some spare capacity. The real is about 5.15 kilowatt hours. So even if you set in your storage, I want you to be discharged to 0%, it's not harmful for the equipment at all, but under one condition. You just don't keep the system with the zero level for a very long time, because it has some self-discharge factor, which is around 2% per month. So if we will just keep the zero level for the very long time, you might really have the battery discharged to zero, I mean the relative zero, and that might short the lifetime of the whole system. So if you are using the battery inside, it's fine, but if it's outside, I would not recommend to set the zero.
But, meaning time, long time, day, week, winter time, we don't have sunshine.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
So during the winter time, I would suggest to change the minimum SOC like to 10-15%, like not to keep it on zero. It's like with the cars. If you have the car, you can use it for like 10 years without any problems, but you can actually drive very rough and after 2 years have replaced half of the components, right? So that's the same with battery.
Can you put charging or capacity on calendar, so it does on the winter to 10 and in the summer it does, so you don't have to every season go and change the settings?
It's not available at this moment, but we as Photomate, like a service partner of Huawei, reported it, and we expect to have very soon the solution when the house owner will be able to decide for his own about the working mode of the battery. So you as an installers will not be asked all the time to do it for them. So they will decide from their own accounts what to do with the battery depending on the summer or winter time. But it's right now you cannot set it like I want from winter time I want to have like minimum 15%, but from the summer I want to have minimum 0.
Okay, but it will come.
Yeah, I mean it still will have to be changed manually. Never. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so continue. Okay. The backup box you have seen in the truck outside is also some additional equipment you can buy with the battery, because usually when you ask the customers who is buying the battery, do you want some backup, like 90% of them will say yes, I want some backup. But our backup box is compatible with both inverters. There are two versions, B0 for single-phase inverters and B1 for three-phase inverters. Nevertheless, you have to be aware, like the backup box for three-phase inverters is supporting only the backup for one phase. And of course, as I mentioned before, we are limited. We have the limited power of the inverter by maximum power. So if we have the 10 kilowatt inverter, maximum power we can get from the backup box is 3.5 kilowatts, because it's just simple 10 kilowatts divided by three phases. So this is the solution which we have right now. The solution from the three-phase backup will be provided, I don't want to say soon, but it will be provided in the future, because nowadays the three-phase backups are facing the real problems with the load unbalance in the households. Like if you are just disconnected from the grid and you have the load unbalance in your household, like on the first phase you are consuming 1 kilowatt, on the second one is you're consuming the 5 kilowatts, the quality of your grid is very, very unstable. The phases are very, very distorted, I mean the signals. So this is the problem which manufacturers are right now facing with. Because the inverter itself, I mean the three-phase inverters, are always symmetrical source of power. So they cannot generate different powers on different phases. So this is the problem with the three-phase backup boxes and why we don't have them yet. Okay, so some basic installing stuff. It's typically the battery is provided with such floor stand, but it's also available to order some floor stand, the wall stand I wanted to say. But please be aware, like one battery pack weighs around 50 kilograms. So your wall or your mounting system must be very, very reliable to just keep the battery on the wall. Nevertheless, we had some such scenarios before, for example, in basements where there is a risk, like after the winter time you might have some water on the floor. The people are hanging them on the walls. Okay, I will just skip the Fusion Solar stuff. We'll just maybe talk about the working modes, because this is, I think, the most important thing. The typical default mode of how battery works is like starting from the point number 1, when we don't have our PV generator active and we don't have any battery capacity, we're just purchasing the power from the grid. But just until the sun starts and our PV starts, we just use the energy from the grid, and then after the output power of inverter is this gray field here. So this is the power produced on the inverter at the output, but all the excessive power is taken to the battery from the DC to DC side until the moment when the battery is fully charged, and this is the only situation when power is exported to the grid. Very common question is like, do I need the power meter for the system? And here is the answer, why do you need that? Because the power meter is giving the signal to the inverter how much power I should produce on the output. Yeah, and all the rest should be taken to the battery. Without the information from power meter, all the power from the PV will just go to the grid and you won't have any charging. So that's why you need it. And of course, after the sunset, you just use the power from your ESS until it's fully discharged. So it's called maximum self-consumption. We do not export anything to the grid, just use what we produce. The time of use is the fully customized mode when we use the time and hours and days how we want the system to work. And for example, during the nighttime, when the energy is relatively cheap, we can charge our battery and provide the power to our load, discharge our ESS during the morning when the energy is starting to cost a little bit more, and then after supply ourselves by the PV. So this part is exactly the same like the before. Then after the sunset, we just discharge the ESS, and during the night when the energy is cheap again, we charge the battery and support our loads from the grid. It's called ESS charge prior. But the opposite scenario is like the grid feed-in prior. So this part is pretty much the same, but the difference is here when we do not charge the battery with our excessive power, but we just put it into the grid. All excessive power is going to the grid. So it's the time when the energy costs you the most. Okay, so after the PV generator is not producing, we just discharge the battery, and again during the night when the energy is very cheap, we charge it and use the energy to the loads. And the last scenario is the fully fed in, and here is like the perfect explanation why you mustn't afraid of oversizing the inverter. Because if you won't have the battery in the inverter and you oversize it too much, your output power curve will look like this. It will be flat on the top. Okay? So if we have the oversized system like 150, 180 degrees, 100% of course, I mean, it's like this is the maximum power of inverter which will be exported to the grid, but this power which normally should be not used will be used to charge the battery. So that's why the oversizing is not bad solution for this. Okay, the inverter itself will always use that power. So this is how the fully fed in scenario works like, and of course after the sunset we discharge our battery to the grid, to the grid and to the load. Okay, so this is how it works. So 3 basic working modes of our battery.
Is it possible that how long it battery will last when you every morning and every evening you will discharge it and charge it again, and some how to say techno freaks they calculated that when the battery's prices will be like even with the price what you paid for that, the battery is already gone. That it has no capacity anymore. It's dead already.
So after 60 megawatt hours of charging and discharging power, you should have left no less than 60% of capacity. And so this is like the one condition of the warranty. The second one is like the 10 years. So whatever comes first.
10 years.
Yeah,
yeah. I'm a cool. Okay, and you believe that, or not believe, but you know that this is that this has a point to discharge it every evening to send it to the grid with when the price is I don't know, price is higher, not yes, and every morning, every day load again.
Yeah.
Charge again.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
It's like you are using it very, very often, yeah? Or two cycles per day.
I'm a little afraid of that, yes. And if you say that there is a like profitable meaning of that, to do that, then it's okay, because till today I say to our clients that there is no meaning, because if your battery is like working back this money you invested already, then after that this battery is dead. You have to change it, and there is no profitable meaning. Or
it's like the calculation regarding the electricity price right now in Estonia.
There's yes, they take account took account the price and price difference. Some freak already, or not freak, but okay, say let's say mathematician. He calculated that the price difference should be like I don't remember those numbers exactly, but he calculated that what should be difference like the night electricity cost and the day cost when there is a meaning to do that. Okay.
I mean, the popularity of an energy storage system is always related with the power price. on the markets. And I also agree, like I'm also engineer, so I won't lie to you. I'm not selling the products. I'm just regular engineer, so I know the truth. Like it's always related to the power of the energy into the different countries. So why the Germans, like 50% of PV system in Germany have the energy storage system is because the cost of electricity there is enormously high for the end user. So that's why the people are buying this. If we are at the moment when the electricity price is relatively low, you're right, it might not have the return. So before it returns to you, you might even have to replace it. It's of course true, but at those times when we cannot assume like the electricity price will be like staying at the same level for a very long time. Last year showed us like it can be doubled in a very short period of time. I'm talking about, for example, of my country right now.
Here is after this war Russia started also, the price will be abnormal anyway, after when the gas is down and blocked and yes, some politician already said that it can rise electricity price about 2 or 3 times already.
Yeah.
And there is a meaning and point then. Yes.
Exactly.
Does it follow exactly the mis see börsihind on? Exchange market price of electricity.
You want to download the price of the energy and upload it to the system.
Okay, because there are devices that actually follow the price in real time.
I know.
Can they be implemented into the system?
I think it's technically possible, but I cannot speak for the Huawei R&D, unfortunately.
Okay. But will you write in a code that follows exactly the price at the moment?
No, I cannot do it. Okay. I mean, it's maybe I will answer this question in a different way. It's like our devices have like the open protocol, so you can use the Modbus TCP or Modbus RTU. So if you are able to, play around with this data and you can bond it somehow with some API which will be download the data from the internet and telling exactly the system when to discharge and when to charge, it's possible. But the built-in system which Huawei offers with the product, it doesn't allow for this right now.
Okay. Will you write in the code that on-off code? That if the implementing of this device that follows prices could be implemented easier? It's
a future. But I cannot speak like for the manufacturer. I'm sorry. I'm not the coding guy. If I would be, I can promise to you such things like you're telling would be already there.
Et meil on siin olemas mehed küll, kes on kirjutanud ja kellel masinad. Yeah.
Okay. Continue.
Also, our single-phase inverters support fully off-grid mode. So the fully off-grid mode is super simple. You just charge the battery during the day and you discharge it during the sunset. We don't have any grid connection, so whatever we store, we use. Okay. We'll just maybe skip through the very popular scenarios. I will just skip the single-phase inverters. I think the three-phase will be more interesting. I'm sorry, I just missed 1 or 2 slides here. Yes. Oh, okay. So this is the the typical scenario for the Huawei inverters, when we have the Luna battery for the DC side, the backups box, and the power meter connected to the grid-tied point control. Yeah. Of course you can cascade the inverters. It's not like said you can use only one. And the typical question is if we can connect more than 3 inverters to one dongle, because as you can see is the one communication device here and 3 inverters. One dongle can provide the communication with the 10 devices to the system. So if we will have the double batteries here, like one Luna battery and another one connected to parallel, it will be the 2 devices. So 2, 6, 2, 4, 6, then 3 inverters, which gives us 9, and 10th device will be the power meter. So only in the solution when you have the three inverters fully equipped with the maximum capacity of the batteries, that you can use only the three inverters, of course. The backup box, the communication with backup box is not like the Modbus RTU, like with the other devices. It's just a single, very simple, like high and low level of signal. So when the AC is present here, the backup box have the high level of voltage on the output. When it disappears, it comes to the zero, so it triggers the switch, and we are disconnected from the grid. The inverter is working as the backup, as the off-grid mode. Let's maybe, this is a very nice scenario. It's already compatible because many people are asking if we can connect the Huawei inverter with some third-party system. Unfortunately, because it's the DC couple solution, it requires to have the Huawei inverter with it. Yeah, but with the two power meters, if you have the system like this, let's assume it's one of the competitors' inverter, and the two power meters, one of it connected at the output of the third-party inverter, and one of it connected at the grid tying point control, you can control the system and store the power from the AC to the DC. So what the Huawei inverter will do in the system, it will read the data from here, like how much this inverter is producing at this moment, and it will decrease the input resistance, so all the power produced from here will come to the loads, and secondly, it will come to the inverter and to the battery. So it will work like the zero export scenario. So even if you have the third-party inverter, you can use the scenario like this. If it would be like the Huawei inverter, for example, like M2, M3 or something else, you don't need this power meter, because we will connect them together with RS485 cable, and the whole system will work together only with this one power meter. Okay, any questions regarding the batteries? It was just a short brief, because all this presentation usually takes around 2 hours to go through all the points, but I hope I have different questions maybe regarding some different products, so I don't want to be focused only on this.
One simple question about this off-grid system. As I understood, the one-phase inverters can be used as off-grid inverters also.
Totally off-grid, yeah.
Yes, with this box.
You don't need it. You don't need a backup box for this.
Even
because you are not connected to the local grid, I mean to the grid operator. So you don't need this backup box, because it's always working as an off-grid mode.
That I didn't know.
Yeah.
Is it possible to switch the generator to this system?
What you mean, the diesel generator?
For example, gasoline, diesel.
Just as a backup?
Yeah.
Okay, it's a very common question, but you cannot just simply connect the diesel generator straight to the AC here, because there are two things. You cannot use both sources at the same time. We have to use generator or PV at the one time. There are some special products, some special switches, which we have also in our offer, which allows for the system to work like this. But if you will connect the diesel generator here, there is a risk, or you will harm the generator, or you will harm the inverter, because the current might flow not to the load, but straight to the inverter and damage the input. So this is like how it works. Also, the diesel generator usually is not producing exactly 50 kilohertz. 50 hertz. It has some frequency deviation, and the inverter is very sensitive regarding changing of frequency in the grid. It's written in the grid code, so you might have, for example, 50.5 hertz from the diesel generator. For the loads, it doesn't matter, but for the inverter, it matters. It will start to decrease the output power.
That's new information. Thank you.
Aitäh, tänud, veel küsimusi? Thank you.
Okay, my target is charge battery from excess energy and discharge for own consumption in specific time slot. what kind of operating mode I have to choose.
Okay, so maybe I'll just open the Fusion Solar so
Yes,
we can check something,
Yes.
okay, together.
So this is the monitoring system, Fusion Solar.
This is the monitoring system available from the web. So it's completely free of charge, of course. If you buy the Huawei product, you have the access to this platform as well.
We bought just 2 months ago, like first four inverters, Huawei inverters, and now I had a problem this Fusion Solar asked code from me. I don't know, kind of verification code. Okay, we can talk about later.
Yeah, sure,
How to make
no
a
problem.
client or account there.
Okay, so let's check one of our resellers. I hope it's online. Nope, it's not online. Sorry for this. So, can you repeat the question? I mean, because right now we can maybe try to show something more.
Yeah. My target is charge battery from excess energy.
From PV.
Yeah, and discharge in a specific time slot.
But you would like to
Discharge
charge
from-
and discharge at the same time?
No, okay. Yes, today I want to charge if
Okay.
I have excess energy and discharge only in specific time.
Okay, so it's the time of use mode can be used for this. So as you can see, you don't want to change it because it's someone's plant, but nevertheless, we have the working mode we talked before. So we need at least one cycle of charging and discharging to make it set properly. So you can exactly choose the time gap when you want to have the battery charged and when you want to have the battery discharged and the specific days for this.
If I choose charge, it's meaning charge from AC.
It's not always like this. It's not always like this because when you allow battery to be charged from the AC, it will charge from the AC. But in factory, it's set like the default setting is to disable it. So if we are talking about this, if we, for example, have picked up some time gap for charging and we have disabled charging from AC, it will charge only from DC.
Because at night solar plant is not working.
Yeah,
There is
yeah.
no sun.
Yes, exactly.
Then Kalev is asking, therefore, that some clients don't. They say that they don't need power the solar plant at all.
Yeah.
They want to just use batteries
Okay.
to save.
Just to charge and discharge and make money by the difference of the price.
Yes, and
Okay.
buy new batteries all the time. All
Okay,
the time.
so you can buy the battery and inverter without PV and it will work like this.
Is it?
Yes. I have seen such scenarios. I already been on such plans like we have just an inverter and the battery but no PV. And it was working like this. Yeah.
If I choose discharge, it's meaning on discharging from own consumption only.
Discharging of what?
Discharging for own consumption.
Not especially. No. It will discharge the battery if you want to the full power. It will export energy to the grid.
But I want to discharge for own consumption only.
To own consumption
Specific
only.
times.
Okay. It's Probably, okay, I would have to think about it, how to set it, because I'm not sure that this for this. So I will come back to this answer, just maybe some other question we have.
I don't know if you have spoke about it already, but if the AC grid is off, does it give out energy? Is it, mismoodi on see topeltsüsteemiga või?
Double backup.
Does it give out electricity if AC is down?
I mean, the backup box is for this.
Oh, okay.
So this additional accessory. So if you don't have it, when you had the blackout, your battery will be still charged from the PV, but you will not have the power from the inverter and from the AC side.
Okay, so if the AC is down, the house doesn't have electricity?
Yeah, but with the backup, you can have it on one phase.
Ah, on one phase?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's just a one phase solution.
Okay.
So you have some critical loads, like, I don't know, some refrigerator or some, I don't know,
Okay, just
some heating device.
Simple thing to put all the necessary things on the first phase in the electrical box.
Yeah,
or
but
something
we
like
are
that.
limited by the output power of inverter always. The maximum power of inverter we can have is 10 kilowatt. So on one phase we can have 3.5 kilowatts. Regular kettle have 2 kilowatts, so you cannot overload it too much.
Okay.
Good. What else from the monitoring system, Fusion?
Okay, so if you were talking about the monitoring platform, what else can we set on what we can do here? If we just go to the plants, we have the most important menu here is the device management, which is this menu, which allows you to change some settings, some parameters. Upgrade management, which allows you to upgrade the firmware of the device remotely. Device log export you will use always when you need it for the warranty claim. So this is the place where you can download it. We just go here and we just add some, choose some plant and we just start export it, okay? Also what we have here is the device license management. Device license management is used mostly for if you want to have like AV curve smart diagnosis, for example. It's the additionally paid software from Huawei, which you can apply here and you will have it in Fusion Solar. The plant management menu also allows you to change some information about the plant, or it allows you to share the plant with somebody else, like with our technical support. If you will come to us and ask to solve some problem, the first thing you're gonna be asked, it's like, please share this plant with us. So you'll just go there. It's available only from the web version. You cannot do it from the app, like on the phone. And you just pick the plant, you just share it, and if you just type the email address here, I will be able to visit to visit your plant on my account and see all the alarms and other things which might help us to solve your problem. Yeah.
Questions regarding monitoring system. Do you have questions? Clem?
Can you show how to download the data? I want to see to Excel file. I want to see voltage, current, battery, all what I can see.
Okay, so right now it's usually available from the section. Sorry. I'm sorry, the inverter from my cell phone is not working very good. Okay, maybe just try something else. Okay, so we have a historical info here. Is the if you just go to the particular device like the battery or inverter, this will allow you to check many different parameters which are not visible on the first, let's say, look. if you will go there. So if you will, for example, have the problem with grid over voltage, you can always check what's the signal here. Okay, so you can monitor how it looked like in the previous days. Very useful function, and it's a little bit hidden in Fusion Solar. Not everyone knows how to use it, but very usually you can find some problems with the grid over voltage on those charts. Also, you can analyze some different, let's say, parameters like power factor, like the input parameters, voltage, current, and so on and so on. So it's very useful tool to analyze some problem if you have any. So I recommend you, of course, to do it. So this is right now how it's possible to check the parameters which are not visible on the main page. What else about the platform itself? If you just go to the set parameters, you have all the parameters which you are able to change locally from the commissioning app, of course. The protection parameters, the grid parameters. For example, it's the very nice function which is, let me check this. Okay, so just an example what you can do remotely and how you can solve the problem with the grid over voltage. You can change the characteristic curve output of the inverter. So the inverter will just compensate the output voltage by some reactive power, and this can be set like this. Also, which can be compensated, how it can be compensated, it will be related to output power. So the power of the inverter, when it's reached the limit like 50%, it's changed the power factor, which means like the inverter will compensate the output voltage of the system just for the few volts, and it might solve your problem remotely. So it's very good to know like this option is available here.
Here we have problems because our grid is because of the I believe because of the big solar plants here, kind of 9-10 megawatts. Nearby there is kind of 255 volt grid parameters. And,
maybe
yes.
I will maybe refer to this problem because it's very common. Like usually, I'm sorry, this presentation is in Polish, but I only just need some pictures to refer to this. So this is like the usual chart looks like when you have the grid over voltage all the time. Yes. So if the customer is coming to us with such problems, it means like you should already have in your mind like, okay, we have some drops of the production, which means like the voltage, the inverter is disconnecting from the grid over and over again. And the reason of this is quite simple. There's a simplified schematics of our PV plant connected to the local grid. Yeah, so we have the transformer station here. We have our current source, which are our PV modules, and our inverter here. So usually the problem is like the inverter wants to be a source in this layout. So it means if you want to pump up some power to the grid, the voltage difference might be created. So our reference point is 230 volts, but if the inverter wants to be a source, it must slightly raise up the voltage by a few volts usually. But how much it will raise the voltage is also depending on the line impedance. So if it's high and the grid quality is not good enough, the inverter will raise up the output voltage above the allowed limit, which is the 253 volts. Yeah, and it's usually said like the inverters are faulty because we have the over voltage, which is like 50% of the true. Because okay, the inverter is rising the voltage slightly, but it will rise it that much like the line impedance is forcing him to do. Yeah, so This is like the technical explanation of why it's happening. Yeah. It's of course the solution here, which we talked before. I don't want to go through all this presentation. This is like how the output curve of the inverter looks like in general. So here is like the point where we are working usually. So maximum output active power and 0 reactive power. But the inverter can work, for example, here. So it will have like that much of reactive power and that much of active power. It's not a problem for the inverter. Most of them have the characteristic like this. So believe me or not, but the voltage difference between this point and this point can be written like with this formula. And what we have an impact for is like here is the active power, which we can regulate, of course. Resistance, we won't change it. Reactive power, of course, and reactance, which is not adjustable as well. The voltage is the voltage from the grid, so we cannot regulate it at all. So what we can do based on this quotation is like we can reduce the maximum output active power or reduce the reactive power or have it with the minus sign. So if you will set the Q, this characteristic curve where the output reactive power will depend on voltage, it will look like this. So this is here we have 230 volts, and when the voltage is rising, the inverter is trying to generate some reactive power with minus sign here, so it means like the total difference of the voltage will be reduced. So this is the solution of the problem. Of course, as long as we do not pay the fines for reactive power, because if you do, it will not help you out.
Very good, Rafał, thank you. Some more questions, issues with inverters, optimizers, storage banks.
About optimizers, is it launched already, this optimizer for the bigger panels also? You have Huawei's 450, was it so? But some optimizer I saw somewhere, but I can't buy it nowhere. Is it 600?
Yeah,
600.
It's upcoming product. It's not released yet,
okay,
so you won't buy it. I'm the person like who receives like the first batch coming to Europe, like the few pieces, and I don't have them yet. So sorry, it's not available.
So not in Europe yet.
Okay. About the warranty, I have a real question right now because we bought here for the one plant free 100 kilowatt inverters, and here is a question that about the warranty expanding for the plus 5 years, and also should we order it from the factory, or what is starting time of the warranty will be valid, like what the 0 point when it started to count the lifetime of the inverter, because we will install it maybe in June, but for the one case, real case right now, we will connect the inverter to the grid because of the building is construction is late. We bought it last year already, but we will connect it to the grid 2 weeks after 2 weeks now.
So the warranty already started, if I understand.
I don't know, because I don't know. I bought it from Onion.
Okay. So if you would like to check it, I mean, because there's a warranty system available.
Because stamp in the papers is March 30, 2021. Yes, it's a year ago already.
It's not a problem. I mean, if you want to check the warranty, as I'm sorry,
I checked it anywhere, but I didn't get answer
you can check the warranty here. It's the warranty check on the Huawei system, and if you will just open this.
Different options, like not options, but somehow I read that, I understood that it will start when inverters will leave a factory.
Yeah, it's usually like this, but you don't have to worry about if the warranty started already and you haven't commissioned your inverter yet. I mean,
Yes.
if you will just contact
Not-
Onion and
it's-
they will write to us, we'll fix the problem.
It's
But
not like not registered in your system.
no. It's
Yes.
not related to how when you commission the inverter. It's really usually like this. It's the warranty is have the basic warranty and some additional buffer time. It's like regularly around 9 months. So from this new 9 months,
months,
all the things might happen. I mean, it has to be sent from China to Europe, from Europe to the resellers, and from the resellers to you, and from you to the end customer. But
Yes.
sometimes it might happen like you cannot actually get on time with the commissioning.
Yes, and my current client, whom are going those free 100 kilowatt inverters, he asked also, where do I see that I have this plus 5 years expanded warranty?
Here,
Here. Okay. Then we can
Huawei
check.
Solar
Okay.
warranty check.
Okay.
It will not appear immediately after you
Yes,
buy it. It
yes.
might take like sometimes even a few months, but
Okay.
nevertheless you can check it here. If you have some problems like the warranty already started and you haven't commissioned your inverter yet, it's like please contact your provider. They are in contact with us, so we'll solve the problem for you.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's why I'm here. Also, one question. I'm, let's say, kind of beginner in the string inverter systems because we are building mostly in with the micros and microinverters. So here is a question that maybe a very stupid question, but I see that somehow competitors, they are connecting when the pair of the strings, yes, they are connecting to the same input, yes, like double input.
Yeah.
But when it is possible, I see that your smart design is offering also to left like one input without any cables, yes.
Yeah.
But it puts like two parallel strings. But for my like I understand, for me it's maybe. One of the parallel strings will have like a shadow on the module or something, and then it's how to say it can harvest more electricity maybe when they are in one input, not to left one input totally empty.
Okay.
How do you,
Is
can
there
you
only
explain me that?
the explanation of this why people are doing this? I mean, connecting two connected in parallel PV modules to one input instead of use two. It's
Yes.
like additionally they would have to buy two SPDs for this, the surge arresters. So just for against the thunderstorm.
Okay.
So if you have two strings, it means like you need to buy two SPDs. If you connect them together in parallel, and then after you can use only one SPD. So is the saving here, like why the people are doing this? But unfortunately, the people usually do not know something like they assume like the maximum current of MPP tracker between two input can be put on one input, which is not true. In Huawei system, you have on this website, I also recommend you to use, so we have the application notes here. So you can, for example, check what's the maximum current limit per each string or MPP tracker here, yeah? So you can download the information from here and let's check what's written. Okay. Let's check the M2, probably that will be the very good example. So we have the maximum input current per MPPT. For M2 is, for example, 22 amps, okay? So two inputs, but maximum short circuit current per, maximum current input current per string is only 14.5. So it doesn't mean like you can use full 22 on one input because it will cut out it at the 14.5. Okay?
Okay.
So I think there are not such PV modules right now available connected in parallel, like the working current will be lower than this value. It's impossible. So it's good to know that. It's because you won't be able to take full 22 amps. So the saving coming from the not buying additional SPD will not be actually your saving, but you will lose a lot of power because of that. You can contact the Caleb or the Oninen, so they will send it to you. I will resend this information after.
He's very busy.
So is in the input of on each input of the Huawei inverter you have some current sensor, which is measuring the current independently. So if it will measure that we are reaching the point of 14.5, then it will not allow to put inside more current. So you won't be able to go above this value. So if you connect the two strings in parallel, it will mean exactly like you will lose potentially about 40% of your power. So do not recommend this. But if you will just follow the information here, everything will be fine.
And you say it's better to connect to the different inputs then.
Yes.
If I have like current cases 36 M3 inverter, yes, and I had there 6 strings, and your smart not yours, but Huawei Smart Design suggested me to connect it to the free parallel strings. For me,
it's wrong information. It's like if you are having M3 inverter and you have the 6 strings, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so
there is 4 inputs.
Sorry, 4 inputs you are taking. Okay, so it's better to use like
2 double and 2
exactly.
Yes.
Exactly, because the tracker in the inverter is looking for maximum tracking point of all strings connected to the tracker. So it's better to split them on as many trackers as possible, because
that's also my point also.
Yeah.
As I'm beginner, but some
I
points
mean, it's just a common sense, you know.
You have to think out. Yes. Okay. Thank you.
So, more questions. Kalev, please.
Can you show in Fusion how to download data to the Excel file?
I haven't been using the Fusion Solar for so long time, so I will try to do it. I think it's on reports. I mean, we have the plant report, inverter report, or battery report. So this is what you are asking. Yeah, yeah. So if you need some inverter report, for example. Again, sorry for my internet connection here. Let's try it one more time, because I don't know if I have a connection still.
But it loads it in Excel, yeah? Or
Yeah, you can download it as an Excel. So you can have the readings from the inverter, like all electrical parameters. It's also very valuable if you want to analyze something. So for example, how the reactive power is associated with some voltage or something like this. So if you will just choose some plant. So we can just, okay, let's just maybe export it. Okay, so as you can see, we have all the electrical parameters related to the plants. I'm sorry, I just downloaded from all the inverters. Sorry, I just wanted to one inverter, so I have to just pick probably the one here.
So at least it seems very easy and obvious to do.
Yes,
but
of course.
Good interface.
So this is how you're going to do it. Of course, you can do it the same for the battery or for the plants if you want. Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. You said like 60,000 megawatts for the battery life cycle. Yes.
16
1
megawatt
6.
hours. 16
megawatt hours. It's yeah, okay.
Okay, any questions?
More questions, maybe inverters, hybrid inverters, hybrid storage modules, what else, optimizers, Fusion Solar, we covered almost all aspects, but when there are some questions, please.
If we can't produce to the grid and we choose export limitation, zero to grid by one phase, what is accuracy?
Accuracy.
Accuracy.
It's always related to the accuracy of the power meter. So regarding the it's for the voltage is plus minus 1%, and for the current is plus minus 2%. But it's not maybe the key point is not maybe how accurate the power meter is, because for the residential system it doesn't really matter. What matters is like how fast the system reacts. I mean, okay, I have received the command from the power meter and how fast I'm adjusting the power and not exporting it. And for the system, like with the one inverter and one dongle and 1 meter is about 2 seconds. Okay, so it might happen like for the 2 seconds you will export some power to the grid until the inverter will just drop down the limit at all, a little.
And these are connected with the smart meter is connected to the inverter by RS485.
Yes, yes, exactly.
This is TTSU 666 or something.
Exactly, exactly.
Okay.
You can also try to play around with some wireless bridges. We tested some of them and they are working. Yeah.
Okay, but when I have here is like a situation that somehow client made already contract with Estonian Energy for the 100 kilowatt. Then I need you had the 250 ampere device also.
Yeah,
yes. Yeah. Then I can use it, and I can connect it after the main like load of the house, and which is between the house and the connection to the Estonian Energy to this cable, and then I can set like maximum outgoing power shall not exceed 100 kilowatt.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
You can do it. You can do it, and but the point is like maybe I will just show you the presentation regarding the okay, so this will be one. So regarding the control of the active power, I think the best will be to explain it on this slide. So we have the two modes, okay? So first mode is the total power limit. So you just ask the inverter to control the output power, but it allows you to export the power on one phase and import it on the second one when you have the load unbalance, yeah? Because the inverter is a symmetrical load of symmetrical source of power. So if we have in that situation such load, the inverter will allow to maximum generate 6 kilowatts. 1 kilowatt will be exported here and it will be imported here, and on the second phase the whole 2 kilowatts will go straight to the loads. For many grid operators it means 0, so 1 kilowatt here and 1 kilowatt here, it means 0. Sometimes it's time limited, like I mean in Poland we have the same. I mean the grid operator will buy this 1 kilowatt from you, and then after will charge you for this 1 kilowatt for the regular price. I know that. So for you, I mean, it's probably the most common scenario will be this one, so the single phase limit. So you are not allowing the inverter to export anything from the grid, so to the grid. But the problem is like you have the demand from the power, but the inverter will always limit the power to the less loaded phase, which means in our case like 1 kilowatt here, 1 kilowatt on the second phase and 1 kilowatt on the third phase. So what we are missing, we need to import from the grid, okay?
Yeah, but here is the question that can somehow adjust it. It can be this smart meter adjusted so that it takes those 3 phases, because I don't want to get the situation that my client say, or let's say Estonian Energy says that, oh boy, you have like you sold me more than 100 kilowatts somehow. is it takes into account that like all those three phases, not and power what I will sell is not exceeds not any time will exceed like 100 kilowatt.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes,
it's
okay.
regular. It's we use the. Okay, so this is the example of maybe single phase, but
You like limit the power, let's say.
yeah. It's not like we have to. It's not like we always have to use the zero. It's we can actually limit it. Like for example, in this we limited like the maximum export is 2 kilowatts.
Yes.
Okay, so 3 kilowatts is taken by load and 2 kilowatts you export. So it will work the same like for the free phase.
Okay. Okay. Good.
Okay, very good, Rafał. Are you tired?
Not so
We have
much.
a quite
The
long,
longest
long
session
journey.
it was like 6 hours. So we can
Okay,
continue.
we have still 4 to go, you know. Very good. So you are well prepared and trained. So, more questions. Kalev already has.
Can you show this wireless measuring? For meter.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the Moxa, so it's like the third-party company.
Okay.
So I can send you the data sheet for this if you will ask me. But
Distance,
we tested it on like I don't know 15, 16 meters, but the manufacturer is telling like 15 declares around 100 meters, something like this.
Yeah, this is
Also, it's a very nice solution is if you have the Ethernet network in the building, you can use the Ethernet to RS400i85 converter and just convert the signal, for example, for the 5 floors from the rooftop to the basement, like using the Ethernet connection, because on the other side you will have the Ethernet to RS400i85 converter, which will convert the signal again to the inverter.
see on põhimõtteliselt konverterid, eks ole. RS485 konvertib selle interneti signaaliks ja seal võtab ka teine osa.
Okay, it's no problem. It's just if you just type the wireless bridge or Ethernet bridge for RS485, and you have the plenty of solutions, and they are working pretty much well. We tested them.
Okay, that's good. Because here is a question that somehow I have to find a place to put some this smart meter between the house and between the external energy connection, like yes,
Yeah.
meter box.
I'm-
And where under the underground.
I'm aware of these problems, yeah, but so mostly the distance or
into the same meter box when the connection to the external energy.
Yeah.
You can maybe, but there is a cables, not it's a pretty, but they have like some circles or rings, like which are going to the cable. Yes,
Yeah.
As I understand.
Yes.
I'm a CEO of the company, not an electrician, but I have to know everything. They are working right now.
Very good questions, very good. So, gentlemen, more questions, maybe some interest.
Just one simple question again about these off-grid systems. Just to be sure that if you say that the one phase, the small inverters can be used as an off-grid inverter without any additional equipment, but then if we won't use the grid electricity and we are going to use diesel generator, but then there should be the automatic switching on contact.
Yeah, I
Does
mean,
it have-
you need the controller for this.
Yes.
If that's the question, because when you are not using the inverter and you want to use the diesel generator, then you have to disconnect the inverter from the grid
Yeah, does it have
and use
this?
the diesel generator. And the otherwise, I mean, when you are using the inverter and not using the diesel generator, you have to also have the switch. They shouldn't work in parallel. It might damage one of the sources.
I mean, without any on-grid electricity, instead we are going to use only our own generator. But anyway, then inverter should say that at the moment I'm taking electricity from sun, and if it we won't have any sun anymore in the evening, then it should switch to the generator. But does it have this automatic switching on contact there, where that?
I mean, if we are equipped in the system, which is the switching board and the bunch of the relays controlled by some software, you can actually just simply short the one input of the inverter, which will trigger the command of shutdown. Okay, so it might work like this. Also, I mean, it's not maybe even necessary, but it's possible, of course. So the system is telling inverter, okay, now you have to shut down. So it shuts down, and then the diesel generator starts. And otherwise, I mean, the diesel generator stops, so the command is sent to the inverter. Now you can start.
Because I have investigated a little bit the so-called off-grid, specially made off-grid inverter. Then they have a special contact in these inverters, and I thought that maybe in these inverters we have the same contact.
Yeah. I mean, I'm talking about exactly this. It's just a simple input on the connection plug. So you just send the signal, though, like the low and high voltage, like 0.5 volts, and it's actually switching on and off the inverter.
Okay,
so
it has it.
Yeah, yes, it has it, of course.
Okay, that's perfect. No more questions.
Kalev has a question.
Can we how to turn off inverter remotely?
Turn off remotely.
Turn off.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
If invoice is not paid.
we have to turn on or for some specific time or. What do we need?
it's actually available here.
But can you use some contact? Relay?
Remotely contact. But how you would like to control this relay?
Okay,
how would you like to control this
I have
contact?
Remote relay.
You have the remote relay. Okay, so
I
it's
have.
possible, of course.
What do you need?
Each inverter have the 4 digital inputs, which can be used in different way. One of the ways is actually to trigger a shutdown of the inverter or the startup of the inverter. So it's possible to do it like this if you have some relay which is remotely controllable. It's possible, of course.
Questions, more questions, Urmas. Next question is coming.
How it was with the smart meter? You said over the Wi-Fi also we can connect it. Or I mean that inverter connects to the smart meter to limit the outgoing power. So you said that there is 2 options. One is with the cable. It goes with the RS485, and another one over the. You said that when in the building is internet.
Yeah, it's for example, you can use the Ethernet infrastructure. Ethernet. Ethernet, yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So just simple converters from RS485 to Ethernet, Modbus TCP/IP, and from the other side you have the other conversion. So it will also work.
Okay. Thank you.
When do you recommend to make software upgrade? Which cases?
At the very beginning, just after you commission the inverter, and then after, please do not turn the automatic upgrade option in the inverter. Do not do it, please. Is that when you go through the commissioning process, at the first step you have the option which is called automatic upgrade. Please do not turn it on, because it might bring you some troubles. I mean, for example, if you have the very old firmware in your dongle, I mean your device which is responsible for the connection, like this, for example, this one is the very old firmware of the dongle. So, and here we have not so new firmware of the inverter. Okay, so now it works. But imagine what happens when you just put the automatic upgrade here. The inverter, it will upgrade itself, but it will not upgrade the dongle. So it means like the connection between those two devices will be lost. So for you, I mean for the installers, it means you have to go on site and reconnect the system again. So it's better to maybe think twice what to upgrade and when, and then after do it manually instead of choosing manual option.
Where we can see what is new and what is old software. How can I understand?
Okay, so if you will just choose the upgrade management option, and we'll just choose the device type. Let's assume it will be like the inverter. Okay, so let's just choose some plant for this. I'm sorry. So we have some plants and the devices associated with the plant. So this is our serial number. I have obtained the authorization, and then we can see what versions of firmware we have available for these devices. Okay. So as you can see, bigger the number, 3 last numbers are not your version, which means you can upgrade it. Yeah. So the latest version for this is 142. Yeah. That's all.
Problem with Wi-Fi dongle and new router.
So changing the password, you mean that? Like we are changing the router and...
No. Well, first, I got the newest router, but Wi-Fi dongle don't work with this router.
Okay,
what's the issue?
It might be the issue like this 5 gigahertz, not 2.5. It might be the problem, because today we have some dual routers. They are using the different bandwidths, like 5 gigahertz or 2.4, sorry. So the dongle is compatible, unfortunately, only with 2.4. So it might be one of the reasons.
Ei tööta. See on kui on routeril 5 giga valitud, aga et dongle töötab 2,5. Dongle is working only with 2.5.
2.4 gigahertz, yeah.
Üks on 5, teine on 2,4 ja siis see dongle saab connectida sinna. Kui sul on routeril ainult välja on nagu ainult 5, siis ta ei saagi sinna.
Usually if you want to solve the problems with the connection, I mean, you should try to upgrade the firmware locally first of the dongle. You know how to do it? I mean, I cannot show you because I don't have any inverter, but I can describe you the procedure if you want. Yeah? It's like you have to remove the dongle from the USB port and put it again, and when it's just starting, the diode on the front cover is like have the orange color, not the green, not red, but orange, so the mixed color of two. So then you have to scan the QR code of this by this commissioning app, and then you will get inside the dongle, so you can upgrade the software from the package of the firmware, which you can download from here actually.
You have to have this software
on your memory, on your memory. But if you just forget, just visit our website and you can remotely download the latest version for the dongle if you want. It's here.
Is it public available for the public available?
Yes, it's public available. You don't need to have the account here.
There is so much information I never saw. Okay, I didn't visit so much the Huawei website.
It's our Photomate website. It's like released like 1 month ago, so it's possible like you haven't visited it.
It's the new information, let's say.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I always advertise it for any meeting. So if you need some information, many of them you can find here.
Under the help center, let's say.
Yeah, it's like the help center, of course.
Okay, good.
European help shelter, yes. Okay.
Probably my technical support engineer will translate all this portal on Estonian language, but I don't know when exactly, but I hope it will happen this year.
Good, we take it as a promise, Rafał, you know.
It's my target.
Everything will record it, you know. No, joke.
You mentioned that do not make automatic upgrade. Can you show? Do you have some presentation about commissioning? Where is the point?
I could try to find it, but I don't want to promise you right now.
This is what I have to do tomorrow. To connect one this 36 kilowatt inverter. Ah, yes, I wanted to ask how to get this account and everything and to start. Ma arvan, et see ma isegi
see on tegelikult väga tähtis, et sa satud õigesse sellest tuleks küsida, satud õigesse serverisse, mis on eriserver.
Okay, let's try with this one. I guess we will be able to find it. And yes, so one of the steps which are here is you will see such kind of a menu, and here is like the option called remote automatic upgrade, and it's disabled by default. So please just keep it like this. So it's in the step when you're just connecting it to the network. So this option should be disabled.
okei. Ma teen sellest see on õnneks on hall või? See on hall, jah.
And you said in standard or standard version it's already disabled, yeah?
Yes, by default it's disabled.
Yeah, by default,
yeah. But you can't change it also.
You can change it also, but
do not do it.
Yeah,
of course, but,
it might get you.
Can you talk about different servers, Fusion server, and issue with this?
Okay, so as you can see, we are going through this commissioning process, and the regular page of Fusion Solar is eu5.fusionsolar.huawei.com, but as soon as you will just log in, you will be redirected to a different link here, like region EU02, 05, 04. It's because the Fusion Solar in Europe has been split on different regions. So what I will recommend... 5, okay. So what I would recommend you, I don't know. I don't know. I would have to use some proxy server and just log in like Estonian and maybe then check how it works. But for example, I have the region 02, and you can, if you will have some problems with the with the connection with the inverter. Here we have the domain name, and here we have this usual entl.fusionsolar.huawei.com name. But so this is like the domain which is set by default. But you can easily just change it by this domain, I mean this one, and nothing wrong will happen, of course. It might work even better because you are skipping one point of reconnection, of just forwarding. So it might work like this, so it will help you to solve the problem. Also, if you are using the domain, you don't have to use it. If you will just open some website like DNS checker, you can put the IP address in this field. Also, so you will skip the DNS servers. So even if you have the connection problems with the platform, with the default settings, you might edit it, and it's nothing to afraid. Like, you can always come back to the previous settings. Yeah. So I would, for example, do something like this. Instead of domain, I will go to the website like the DNS checker. I'll just copy the link from here. Sorry, I still facing the problems with the internet. Okay, so I'm sorry, I don't want to waste your time. Nevertheless, if you just paste the link on one of those pages, it will show you exactly what's the IP of the domain you are pasting. So you can easily just copy it from it and just put it in this field. So you will skip 2 of 3 forwarding points, which might allow you to connect with the server.
Good. Very good. So, thank you. Are there any more questions or küsimusi on? Ei ole? Aha. Kindlasti on küsimusi veel ja tulemas. Ja. Aha. Ja. Proovime leida vastused, et üheskoos Photomaidiga ja Huaweiga. Aga tänud ja thank you, Rafał. Just for as the end of presentation, can you go to the homepage oninen.fi? Oninen.fi, just oninen.ii. And I just show you. Is it working?
I think it's double N.
Double N, yes.
I mean, the first
internet,
one. Yeah, I don't have an internet connection probably. That's something. But you can connect with some some network if you have some. No, sorry.
Okay, but just for end, you can. Te leiate Huawei inverterite ja lisaseadmete, optimeerijad, eks ju, akud, Luna aku lahendused, kõik muud infot koos toote lehtedega, sertifikaatidega, kõik vajaliku andmetega, tehniliste andmetega Onineni kodulehelt, eks ju, kui te lähete päikeselahenduse peale ja sealt edasi liigute juba siis inverterite suunas ja akulahenduste suunas. Nii et ja tänud tulemast, aitame, toetame teid Onineni poolt tehnilise infoga ja toega ja kindlasti koostöös Photomaidi ja Huaweiga. Nii et tänud küsimuse eest, loodame, et saime pakkuda vastuseid. Aitäh!